Hi all, this is Once and Future Gamer, and I'm back. Welcome to another Pokemon Challenge. Last time was a run through Generation 3 Kanto, as we sought to see if I could beat Pokemon Fire Red with just a single Pikachu. Not entirely fun towards the end, but definitely interesting. Today though, we remain in Kanto, though a couple of generations back, and we kick off Poison Month as we ask the question of if I can beat Pokemon Yellow with only a single Koffing. Koffing then. We have a Gen 1 base stat total of 295, which isn't that bad. It's 5 points better than Farfetch'd and 4 points worse than Pidgeotto. Our defence is our best stat at 95. Our attack and special are both about the 60 mark, but our HP and speed are low. We are mono poison, so we're weak to ground and psychic. No levitate in this gen, so the ground type moves are really going to hurt. Plus, because it's Gen 1, we're weak to Bug 2, but we resist fighting, poison and grass. Move-wise, we get very little via level up, with probably the best move we learn being Sludge. That is a really unsettling fact. We do get 2 moves with 100 plus power, but I'm not really considering Self-Destruct or Explosion as viable opportunities for winning fights. Having to do the opening bit of the game with Tackle and Smog is going to be horrific. Via TM, we do get some slight coverage, but not much. There's Thunderbolts that I'll probably use, and there's Fire Blast 2, which isn't optimal, but it's better than nothing. The problem will be that by the time I get Fire Blast, there'll not be too much that I can really unleash it on for the greatest of effect. Most of the rest of the moves are meh. Maybe I can get some use out of Mimic. I'll rephrase that. I might have to get some use out of Mimic. Predictions. I think Brock is going to be annoying at the start, given that we are going to struggle versus rock and ground types for sure with the moves that we can learn. That might make Giovanni quite hard too, particularly the fight in the Viridian Gym. Sabrina could be exceptionally rough too in this run, but with enough levels, all things are possible. Agatha might not be an easy fight either, but we'll have to see. The rules. In combat, I can only use Koffing. Other Pokemon will be needed for HMs but unable to fight. Only Pokeballs in combat, but healing is permitted outside of battle. Last of all, no glitches or exploits. If you do enjoy what you see, then like, subscribe and ring that bell. Universal Pokemon Randomizer time, and I use it to replace Pikachu with Koffing, so that I can do the whole run with it. I have done Yellow with Ekans before, so it's time for the other Archetype Team Rocket Pokemon to take a stab at Gen 1 Kanto. I nicknamed my Koffing Monoxide, because that was what I came up with after a few seconds of thought. And then it's time for the lab rival fight. We have not got much speed, which is worrying in this generation, but we'll have to make do. We don't have a disadvantage or an advantage over the rival's Eevee. It shouldn't make too much of a difference what he evolves it into. Jolteon might be the hardest because it has a super effective move in Pin Missile. That's something to keep in mind. Smog misses the first turn versus Eevee because, of course, it's a 70 accuracy, 20 power move. What were Game Freak thinking there? That seems cruel for sure. We land the move at the second attempt and do manage to poison his Eevee. Though, come this point, we are almost at the half health mark of our own, thanks to him critting a tackle early on. Eevee is faster, and it shows as we are getting hit first every time. It is annoying. But we start moving to tackle it, though each tackle doesn't do much damage, alas. It lands us on 1 HP, and then, when it could have gone for the killing blow, it chose to tail whip instead as we put it into red health. Poison then finishes it off. That was close to a loss. The Jolteon is on though. I'm going to go and train now, grind up because we have got an annoying Brock fight ahead. I can't hurt his Pokemon massively, and because he likes to spam full heals, we can't rely on poison. Plus, you know, we've already seen that Smog isn't the most reliable move, but that's basically why we've got to train, because we don't get a better move until after level 32. Now, admittedly, once we beat Brock, we can start getting TMs, but there's still not going to be anything good for a while. The moveset is going to be the biggest limitation of this run, I can already tell. But hey ho, they don't call it a challenge for nothing. And poison as a type is something that isn't truly useful until later gens. It was a common type in Gen 1, but most of the better ones were Pokemon that made better use of their other typing. There are plenty of grass and poison types. There's Tentacruel for water and poison, the Nido line for poison and ground. They were all better known as being part of their other type. There's the Gengar line, the Golbat line. Yeah, they're definitely not known for being poison types. This grind is painful thanks to our low speed at the start and the low accuracy of our moves, but we will persevere. I make it to level 16 and then go do the rival fight on Route 22 so that we can control what he gets as an option. Jolteon is still going to be the hardest for us to fight, so we need to win here and hardly. If we lose, I don't think we get the chance to repeat the fight, so given our limitations at this point, we need to be strong. Pretty potent indeed. We do massive damage to Spearow with our first tackle, but it lands 2 growls on us, meaning that by the time we take it out with 2 more tackle attacks over the course of the fight, we're not going to hit hard with our weak moves at all. That's definitely not a good thing. I go for a Smog versus Eevee, and it both lands, which is remarkable, and gets the poison on the first turn, which is even better. I breathe a huge sigh of relief, and we then start to tackle it, all while the poison wears it down. It can't really hurt us, even after landing a tail whip, which is good. We can weather whatever it throws at us, we can just keep on tackling, and eventually we bring it crashing down. Woo! Let's do Brock then, because no doubt this is going to be fun on a bun in no way whatsoever. I think we'll manage it eventually. I'm just curious as to what level we will actually need to be. I think there was actually an early anime episode where James's Koffing managed to one-hit Brock's Onix with counter, but I'm pretty sure that's illegal in every sense of the word. We are level 18 going into the fight, and I'm hopeful. I start by using Smog attacks on Geodude, which is an unreliable tactic for sure, because Smog, as has been established by this point, is insanely bad accuracy. Even the promise of poison isn't the most helpful, as Brock likes to spam full heals, which doesn't do us any favours. I give up on Smog eventually, figuring I'll save it for Onix. When it goes Bide, that low accuracy might be useful. So instead, we start tackling Geodude, which actually does more damage than Smog, even without stab, which is interesting. And also, what is so useful in all of this is that we get so many crits, which means we can inflict better damage than we might have otherwise. And that is such a blessed relief, because it means we can wear Geodude down. It can hit us for meagre damage with tackle, and that's just fine. Eventually, we drop it, and it's time to face Onix. Now again, I go for Smogs, which do their traditional lack of great accuracy trick, but we do get quite a lot of poison luck when they do land, and Brock doesn't always heal the poison straight away, especially during the bide turns, so we can get some damage over time. I am surprised about that with Gen 1 mechanics, but hey ho, I'm not going to question it. What worries me the most is the Screech attacks we get hit with, since it'll make tackle from Onix do even more damage. We end up taking most of the damage from this part of the fight from Bide, as we don't have the ability to wait it out. Though there is a massively hairy moment at the end, where, with us having been hit by multiple Screech attacks and at about 18 HP, Onix goes for bind and thankfully doesn't go the full 5 turns, because that would have ended us. A tackle puts us into knockout range shortly after, but the beautiful thing is that with Onix at low health, it goes for bide and it's time to go for broke. We crit our tackle and drop it for badge number 1. Not as bad as I thought it would be. This could have been so much worse. I fight through Mount Moon and make my way to Cerulean City, where there is the choice between Misty and the Nugget Bridge rival fight, and I decide to plump for the latter. I like to do the rival fight before Misty if I can, because it breaks up the opponents. If I do Misty first, then the next 2 major fights are both versus the rival, and it's a bit meh. Anyway, Spearow crits Fury attack, which isn't helpful because Gen 1 mechanics means every hit of the attack crits, so we lose a good bit of health there. Thankfully, we get a crit of our own with Tackle and drop it in 2 hits after it fails with a Growl. That's good. A lot of status moves fail in this fight. Spearow is down and it's time to face Sandshrew, and our Tackle does very little to it, meaning it takes 4 hits of that move to down it. I am immensely lucky that it only ever goes for scratch and doesn't sand attack us, because that would have been pretty bad otherwise. As I said earlier, ground and rock types are going to be annoying throughout. Rattata is a 2-hit with Tackle, but we take some more damage in exchange from its Hyper Fang before Eevee is last, and we just have to keep on tackling until it goes down. It shrugs off our blows relatively well, but our level advantage tells, and we can just keep on hitting it until we're victorious. It does go for Growl and Tail Whip attacks, but there's quite a lot of failure from them, and we take the win at long last. It's time for Misty then, and I have some doubts about this. I think we are going to take quite a lot of damage here from her stab water attacks, and I'd be worried about dealing enough damage in exchange to take down her Pokemon, particularly Starmie. I train a little more to level 27 and then go after her to see what happens. It doesn't go well. We can only 4-hit Staryu after an X-Defend from Misty, and although her water gun attacks don't inflict massive damage, it is noticeable when we get hit by them, and her free water gun attacks do enough damage that even when we do take Staryu down, we're weakened as we go into Starmie. It takes a few smogs before we get the poison on it, and that's not good because we get hit with water gun and tackle, which isn't good at all. Eventually, we do poison it with smog, and she goes for an X-Defend and Harden, which gives me some hope as we drop into low HP. Maybe if she keeps spamming Harden, we might take it out. No such luck, as a crit Bubble Beam takes us out. I'm coming back later. We just don't have good enough moves at the moment. I come back level 32 after we get Sludge, and unlike the previous moves we've had, it's both 100% accurate and moderately powerful, so this should give us an advantage. Pollution kills starfishes, I believe, so this should be simple. Staryu, this time, is simple, as our Sludge ends it hard in a single hit. So, this is already going better than last time. Starmie is made out of sterner stuff as it survives our Sludge after Misty drops an X-Defend on it. We also get hit with a crit Bubble Beam that does nearly half our health in damage. Yikes! After our second Sludge puts it on red health though, we manage to poison it, and the poison damage takes it down to give us a win and badge number 2. SS and rival fight then, and I'm not too worried about this. Sure, Sandshrew is still likely going to be annoying, but the rest of the team shouldn't be too bad thanks to our growing levels and the fact we now have a useful move. This fight is immensely simple as we take Spearow down in a single hit of Sludge and it doesn't do anything to us in retaliation. The same isn't true of Rattata, who lands a quick attack, but we shrug it off and down it with Sludge. Sandshrew does resist our Sludge, and it takes 2 of them to take it out, but it only goes to scratch in exchange rather than the dreaded sand attack. That's the deadliest foe down, and there's only Eevee left, but Sludge proves superior to it, and we take the victory. Time for the electric gym then, and I'm not at all concerned here because we should be okay. Surge can be tricky, but we've got that level advantage, and we're pretty handy with Sludge at this point. Plus, I want that Thunderbolt TM he gives us after the battle. You know, this fight is closer than might be thought, as we get hit with a Thunderbolt right at the start for decent damage, but we fight on and poison Raichu with a Sludge that does about 3/4 of its health. A Mega Kick comes in and leaves us on about 1/3 of our health, but we can take it out with another Sludge for victory and the Thunderbolt TM, which will be shockingly handy. Here is some Koffing trivia while I go through Rock Tunnel because this is sure to be not pleasant. Koffing and Wheezing are the only known Pokemon that can have neutralising gas as an ability. In the Pokemon Red and Blue Beta, it was known as NY, representing New York's polluted air. Koffing and Cantonian Wheezing are the only Pokemon whose abilities changed in Generation 8. They only previously had Levitate. It may be based on the fear that heavy pollution caused by toxic or radioactive waste may result in the creation of a new life form. The skull and crossbones beneath its face resembles the hazard symbol for poison. Koffing shares traits to Grimer and Trubbish. All are pure poison types with a single evolved form, roughly the same base stats and evolution levels, and appear to be based on a different type of pollution, Koffing being based on air pollution. Watch this space for the latter one of that trio that I mentioned a few moments ago. Anyway, Lavender Town rival fight. I'm going to go ahead and do this now because why not? I like to break it up and we've got a few, possibly, harder fights ahead. I'm not even slightly worried about this fight. Mind you, I said that on my previous Kanto challenge a few weeks back and it didn't go so well. Anyway, Fearow is faster and goes for Mirror Move, which fails and we drop it with Thunderbolt. My rival is a genius, clearly. Shelder also goes down to Thunderbolt and we're 2 up very quickly. Vulpix hits Quick Attack for small damage and we end it with a Sludge. Sandshrew is its usual pain as it survives Sludge, though we do poison it before it lands Sand Attack. The Sludge attack that would have taken it down immediately misses because, of course, but we do take it out with Tackle before Eevee is last. And this time we land our Sludge to take it down and give us a win. Into Celadon City I go, and as per usual, it's a choice between Erica and Giovanni as to who I go after first. This time though, I think I'll take on Erica first, and I fight my way through the grass gym to confront her. We can't be poisoned, which is nice. Actually, that's a massive perk of using poison types in these challenges, and I think we'll have a smoother time versus her than Giovanni at the moment. Anyway, Tangela is a one-hit with Sludge to give us an immediate win there. Tangela is the only pure grass type in Gen 1. Fun fact. Weeping Bell survives Sludge on a Sliver, and Erica does an illegal Super Potion move which bites her as we then take it down on the next turn. That did her no sort of good. Gloom is last and it survives our Sludge but counters with Acid, which we shrug off and finish it off with another Sludge for a victory. 4 badges down. Giovanni is next then, and this should be a bit harder for the moment. I think his Onix and Rhyhorn will be annoying to take down, but not dramatically so, and I have a plan for later in the game. It won't do me much good at the moment though, so I suppose we should get going. Even with nearly a double level advantage, this fight is slow. Onix is a 4-hit with Sludge. Thankfully, we did get an early poison in, and Giovanni only goes for Rage, which doesn't do it a whole lot of good. Rage is useless in Gen 1 pretty much. We do make it increasingly angrier, but it's not too bad otherwise, as the blows do very little damage, and when it goes down, it's good. Rhyhorn takes a similar number of hits to drop. We keep firing toxic waste at it, while it does at least make an effort to fight back, unlike Onix, landing a horn attack amongst other blows. We do poison it right at the end, and we watch it finally go down before the Persian is last. We miss our Sludge thanks to the 256 glitch, and it fails with Growl before hitting Payday. However, we strike it with Sludge at the second attempt to down it. 1 Giovanni fight down then. Okay then, so as we explore Sylph, let's talk about what's ongoing with the channel. Okay, this might take a while since there's 2 weeks worth of updates to talk about. Obviously, there was no challenge last weekend because I was on holiday, but I did make sure before I went that there continued to be episodes throughout thanks to a mad uploading frenzy before I did go away. I need to look at what needs recording and what I'm running short on. So, in the last 2 weeks, there were episodes 13 and 14 of Hogwarts Legacy. I'm still not even close to finishing that, and I need to get a crack on with it. There were episodes 26 through 29 of Pokemon Gold Unova as I continue through that demade version of Unova. There were episodes 3 and 4 of my playthrough of Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, which still loving. Also, episodes 5 through 8 of my playthrough of Resident Evil 4 Remake as well, so that's an ongoing thing. Busy then. Oh, and in lieu of a challenge last week, there was an episode of Spyro Ripto's Revenge. Or, if you were a fan of that game in its PS1 European iteration, Gateway to Glimmer, as it was called over here. Challenges then. Poison Month begins and we're kicking off with the Koffing. Join me next week as I take a step into Generation 5 and see if I can beat Pokemon Black with just a single Trubbish. I like the design of Trubbish, I think it's cute, so we'll see how it does there in that region. I've outlined what I'm going to do over the next 2 months, so June and July are interesting. June being Poison Month, July being Bug Month. I might make August a viewer submission month where I do some of the more interesting challenges that have been sent in. At time of planning, the first challenge in August will be the 100th Pokemon challenge I have done, so I need to work out still what that will be. As always, if you have any ideas for future challenges, head to the comment section down below or follow the links in the description to my Twitter or my Discord. I'm always interested to see what comes up. Also, while you're down there, if you're interested in supporting the channel, there's a link to my Patreon, so come on by if you want to support the channel. If you do, but don't want to pay for it, tell a friend or anyone you may know who may appreciate this content. It costs nothing, it's incredibly valuable. The power of word of mouth is not a small thing. As always, folks, thanks for watching. Let us return to the scheduled content right now. I'm about to go face the Sylph rival fight and we are at level 57. This is possibly a bit of a risk as I am worried we are going to struggle to damage Sandslash at this level, but I think we should have enough to overpower him. I think we might struggle to beat Sabrina at about this level, but that's a problem for the future. Anyway, rival fight. Sandslash is quite annoying as it crits Slash a bunch of times, and although we do get the poison on the first turn when we hit it with Sludge, it still takes a few attempts to bring it down, and we get messed up somewhat worse than I would have liked. Ninetales is next and it fails with Roar and misses Ember, while we down it with Sludge and Tackle. Very fortunate. Cloyster is third and it goes down to Thunderbolt before the Kadabra is out fourth, and this was my worry ahead of Sabrina. It is faster than us despite being over 20 levels lower, and Confusion inflicts wicked damage. Confusion, the worst of the 3 main psychic type moves in this game. We down it with Sludge, but we are into red health going into Jolteon, who does have a super effective pin missile to hit us with. Individually, they don't do much damage, but they soon mount up to wear us down, despite us surviving 1 pin missile barrage and poisoning Jolteon with Sludge. We eventually go down hard. I might head south then. Let's face Koga. This should be a lot easier, as all his poison types are also part bug, and therefore take neutral damage from Sludge. Worst case scenario, I can go and do Blaine before Sabrina if need be, but we will have to see. The Poison Gym shouldn't be too bad, even if there may be some psychic moves on show. The first Venonat goes down to a single Sludge, which is pretty nice. This next bit is where it gets weird though. The second Venonat survives Sludge and hits Psychic, which we shrug off with minimal damage, though our special stat is lowered. We take it out with a second Sludge. The third Venonat goes down to a single Sludge, 2 levels higher than the previous one. Badge boost glitch maybe? Anyway, Venomoth is last and it inflicts massive damage on us with Psychic to the point that we are not surviving a second attack. We don't have to though, as Sludge crits and downs it hard to give us badge number 5. I might head over to Cinnabar to take on Blaine, I think. That should be an easier fight than the Psychic Gym for sure. And also, it will give us the Fire Blast TM, which should be a better option for Sandslash than Sludge for sure. Plus, it's nice to mix up the order a bit. do the gyms in a different route than I normally do. Always seems that I do it in a certain way in Kanto. Oh well. Oh my word, this effort goes badly. Ninetails hits quick attack and then survives sludge, which is unhelpful for sure. What helps less is the massive damage we take from flamethrower before taking the Ninetails down with another sludge. Rapidash is faster, which I'm not surprised about, but misses takedown before also surviving sludge with poisoning. It lands takedown at the second attempt, but does minimal damage before we take it out with another sludge. Arcanine goes for Reflect, which means sludge does pretty much nothing to it before it takes us down with Fire Blast, which is deeply annoying. Okay, so I guess it's time to get training then. I fight up to level 70 and then go back to Sylph to make another stab at the rival. With this much of a level advantage, hopefully this makes a difference. We were close last time for sure, so what about now? I have a feeling Giovanni might not be much of an issue here, but Sabrina will be for sure. Same thoughts as last time then. But first Rod. Sandslash is a free hit with Sludge. It lands a Swift on us for meagre damage, and it is stark contrast to last time. We do manage to poison it, and Rod does use a potion, but ultimately it does him no good as we take it down. Ninetails is a one hit with Sludge, and we watch it go down before Cloyster is next, and we zap it with a Thunderbolt to take it out and give us the win. Next is Kadabra, and this time we are faster to take it out with Sludge before Jolteon is last. Again, it is faster than us and hits us with Pin Missile, but we can shrug it off to drop it with a single Sludge and give us victory. Giovanni then. We will struggle to damage Nidoqueen, but the rest of his team might not be too bad. Barring maybe Rhyhorn, but we should have enough to power through. I would fight him, but realise I deposited the card key before I could open the last door. Oh dear. Anyway, the fight. It goes quite smoothly. Nidorino is a single hit knockout with Thunderbolt, which isn't entirely a surprise, before Persian comes out next and we blast it in the face with the Sludge attack to take it down. Next is Rhyhorn, and it can't really hurt us, given it only has Horn Attack and Stomp as offensive moves, neither of which do particularly big damage as we fire our attacks at it. They don't do that much individually, but we soon manage to wear it down and take the victory. Nidoqueen is the biggest surprise of all, as our tackle actually does pretty decent damage, so we can wear her down quickly. Despite getting hit with Tail Whip, Scratch and Body Slam, we never look like going down, so we can move on ahead. Sabrina then, and this is likely to be rough, assuming that it even can be done at this level. We are going to get outsped by Alakazam and probably Kadabra too, so this is going to turn into something where she will likely have to make an error for us to win. Psywave might be a good thing for her to go for, that'll give us an advantage. I don't think beating Blaine first is really going to help us either, so best to try and make a go at it and see what happens. I can't remember the route through the tiles, so I take the long route around. We outspeed Abra and drop it with Sludge. Nicely done. That's good because having our accuracy lowered with Flash would be bad. She goes for an X-Defend on Kadabra, but our Sludge crits to take it out, which is also a massive relief before the Alakazam is last, and this is worrying. She goes for another X-Defend, and that probably lets it survive Sludge on red health. We then get blasted with Psychic, but survive it hardily on yellow health to take it down with a second Sludge and give us the win. That was close because a crit Psychic there, and Alakazam is a crit machine in Gen 1 would have ended us. 6 badges then. Back to Blaine then, and we should be fine now. Hopefully, some of those survivals from before have turned into knockouts. We go into this fight, and I'm determined we're not going to have a repeat of last time. Blaine doing Blaine stuff would be useful. Ninetails hits quick attack, but we shrug it off and take it out with 2 Sludge attacks. We're already doing better than we did last time, for sure. Next is Rapidash, who misses takedown but survives sludge with poisoning. It lands Growl, which might not be that bad as we take it out with sludge. Last is Arcanine, and remembering what it did last time with Reflect, I go for Thunderbolt, which does about half its health. We then get smashed with Takedown, which means it's a simple matter to drop it with another Thunderbolt, and we can then claim the victory and move on towards Giovanni. Have you noticed what move I acquired between the last Giovanni fight and this one? I got a certain TM in Saffron, and when it comes to his Nido duo and his Rhydon, it might be something that gives us an advantage. Mimic is really useful in Gen 1 because it lets you copy any move an opponent knows, so it will let us learn Earthquake in this battle. Or I could go Dig, which has the same power in this gen as it does Earthquake. Choices. Anyway, he begins with Dugtrio and he goes for his trademark move, a Guard Spec, while we take the chance to learn Earthquake off Dugtrio. I don't want to waste a PP though, and while Dugtrio misses Fissure, I hit it with Fire Blast, and we one-hit it with the move. Fortunate that it landed, I guess. Next is Persian, and it hits us with a flurry of Fury Swipes before surviving our Sludge. Rather than attacking again though, Giovanni goes for a Guard Spec, and we take it down with another Sludge. Nidoqueen is third and we go for Earthquake, surprising me when we take it down with one hit, given her defensive bulk. If Nidoqueen went down to one Earthquake, Nidoking definitely will, and I'm proved right as we drop him before Rhydon is last. There is no way we one-hit this thing, and I'm right you know, it survives our Earthquake and then hits one of its own, doing big damage unto us, but we do survive and we manage to take it out with another Earthquake to give us a win and the final badge. Before we go much further, there is a rival battle. This is usually a somewhat decent gauge as to where we are as we approach the end game. He'll be hard, but I think we should be able to cope. Let us go and find out. Sandslash is first and I am not in any mood to mess about with it. We strike it with a Fire Blast and drop it hard with a crit. That was fortunate because I don't know what would have happened if it hadn't crit. Next is Execute and we smash it with a Sludge attack to take the knockout before Ninetales is third. We take that down with a single Sludge attack before the next opponent is Cloyster, and that is a swift takedown with Thunderbolt. Kadabra is fifth and we drop that with Sludge, thankfully outspeeding before Jolteon is last. It goes for Agility, yay, before narrowly surviving Sludge on a Sliver. We don't get the poison condition though, and it lands 3 rounds of Pin Missile before we take it out at the next attempt with Sludge. Easy enough, but he will have about 10 more levels on everything when we next fight him. I fight through Victory Road, and here are our stats as we stand in the Indigo Plateau at level 79, nearly 80. Well, I am surprised by our stats. Defence is excellent, so that fills me with confidence. Our special and attack are both about even, both pretty decent. That low speed worries me, particularly against faster opponents. I'm not sure who out of the Elite Four is going to give me the most trouble. I think we will be able to handle most of them without issue. Maybe Agatha might be a problem, but nothing we shouldn't be able to deal with. The rivals Alakazam does not fill me with confidence. Oh well, take your guesses on if we can do it at this level or not right now, folks. Ice Trainer Lorelei is first and we have Thunderbolt. Most of her team is weak to electricity, so I think it is a case of how quickly we can knock her Pokemon out before they cause problems to us. Jinx and Slowbro are possibly worrying, but we should be fine. Let us find out. Dugong is first and we manage to immediately knock it out with Thunderbolt. Anytime we can one-hit Lorelei's Dugong is good by me. Cloyster is second and goes down to a single Thunderbolt. It's so nice there's no protecting this game. Slowbro is third and we drop it with Thunderbolt. Jinx is fourth, and to change it up and take advantage of her low physical defence, we hit her with Sludge for a knockout before Lapras is fifth. It survives Thunderbolt and hits us with Hydro Pump, but we shrug it off and take it down with Sludge. That was pretty smooth. Fighting Trainer Bruno is next, and this could be interesting. I was a bit worried about his Onyx before I worked out a strategy, but I think we'll be fine now. He's never really that hard an opponent, so it's not like we need to worry too much about him. We use Mimic on the first Onyx to copy the ability to use Dig. He does hit us with Screech, but that's not a problem as we go underground and then hit it with Dig on the next 2 turns to take it out. Hitmonchan survives Sludge on a Sliver but gets poisoned, and even as it goes for double team, it collapses in defeat. Hitmonlee is a one-hit takedown with Sludge before Onyx number 2 is next, and we go for Dig to try and take it out. Bruno uses an X-Defend and it survives our hit as a result before missing a Rock Slide. We do have it in low red health and I try to take it out with Sludge to no avail, but we do poison it and the damage takes it out. Machamp is last, and despite it doing big damage with submission, we take it out with 2 Sludge attacks, poisoning it in the process. 2 down. Agatha is third, and she could be rough since we don't have a fantastic way to deal with her ghost types short of thunderbolting them, and they should have decent specials, so it is not a fun prospect. I guess we'll have to make do. I wish the first Gengar knew Psychic because that would be really handy. The first Gengar is faster than us and lands a few lick attacks while shrugging off our Thunderbolt, which isn't good as I know exactly what's going to happen next and we duly end up paralysed for the entire fight, which is absolutely dreadful. We do take Gengar down eventually, but it takes 3 Thunderbolts, which is pretty bad. Meanwhile, it is hitting us throughout the fight. Golbat is at least a single hit with Thunderbolts, though our health does get worn down even more when it does attack us. Haunter is next, and I go for Fire Blast, but it does miss, and I was expecting that. It never really tries to attack us, though, as we land Fire Blast on the second attempt. I go to finish it, but she switches into Arbok, and we zap it with Thunderbolt for pretty good damage. Arbok soon goes down shortly after, but Haunter becomes a massive pain as she heals it twice with super potions and then starts using Confuse Ray. We do soon take it out, but the second Gengar downs us with 2 psychic attacks. We do manage to mimic the move, but when we might have had the chance to inflict damage, we get afflicted with paralysis, which is ever so slightly annoying. Anyway, that's a loss. I fight back to her and try again. I figured earlier that Agatha might be the hardest opponent, and so far it looks like I was right. Her first Gengar is annoying as it keeps spamming Substitute, forcing us to waste PP on trying to break it, which is really irritating. Still, it is preferable to it using Lick to paralyse us. We blast it with Thunderbolts and eventually bring it to low health. It lands 1 Lick, and of course, we get paralysed by it. She recalls Gengar as we're trying to finish it with Sludge, and Golbat comes in. We evade a Supersonic from the bat and manage to bring it down with Thunderbolts before we are facing Gengar once again, and it's still a royal pain. It is getting to the point where even if we win, I kinda hope we lose because we're losing a lot of PP. Haunter is next, and we call Fire Blast, but she immediately switches and Fire Blast one hits Arbok. We miss 2 Fire Blasts on Haunter. What is it about that Pokemon so far? But the third one lands and it just about survives. She starts using Super Potions again as we try to down it with Sludge, but Fire Blast burned it and it saps its health over time, which is a relief. If the second Gengar went for Psychic, we would probably have lost, but it kept spamming Dream Eater over and over again, which was an interesting tactic. I simply kept going for Thunderbolt, not that we could use it every turn, thanks to paralysis, and eventually, given its lack of desire to attack, we bring it down for the win. Lance then, let's get this battle started because I am ready to go and fight him. I think that this will be easier than Agatha for sure. Bar some pretty bad luck, we should be fine here. I'm not sure what he has to worry me. I'm not scared of his Dragonite, that's for sure. Anyway, Gyarados goes down to a single Thunderbolt, as might be expected. The first Dragonair is annoying as it narrowly survives Sludge, and then he heals it with a Hyper Potion before it blasts us with a Hyper Beam. We can take it out with 2 Sludges, but I am moderately irked. We crit the second Dragonair with Sludge to down it in a single hit before Aerodactyl is 4th. It is faster and goes for Fly, critting the move to put us in yellow health. Naturally. Cheers, mate. We drop it with Thunderbolt though. Last is Dragonite, and we are faster this time and do just over half with Sludge, getting the poison in as well. It lands Blizzard, but we shrug it off and another Sludge takes it down. Come on! 1 fight left. I can taste victory now. Final rival fight then, and let's see how this one goes. I have about 8 rare candies if I need them in the event of some narrow losses. We best get this party started. Sandslash is out first and it has something I need, but setting up is risky here. I feel like the start of this fight is going to set the tone for the entire match. We use Mimic on Sandslash to learn Earthquake, which is going to be vital, but we do get hit with that very move. Thankfully, we can shrug it off thanks to our high defence, which is pretty nice, before we land the Fire Blast on Sandslash to one-hit that opponent and end it as a threat. So much could have gone wrong there, but we came out on top. Alakazam is next and it misses Kinesis, which is massive, but we drop it with Earthquake for a win. Executor is next, and I don't want to gamble on Fire Blast, so we one-hit that with Sludge to put us 3 up. Cloyster is 4th, and we drop it with Thunderbolt to take it down in a single hit. Next is Ninetales, and it lands Tail Whip, which isn't ideal, before we take it out with Earthquake. Last is Jolteon. It is faster and lands 2 hits of Pin Missile, which don't hurt as much as they might have, but we land our Earthquake to give us the knockout and the victory over the champion. And just like that, we've beaten the game, we've won the run, and we can enter the Hall of Fame as Monoxide is rightly hailed as the best. So, that was interesting. Definitely tough in places. I hope you enjoyed it for sure. Thanks for watching. As always, if you did enjoy, please leave a like, comment away and subscribe away if you haven't already done so, because after all, it's good for the YouTube algorithm, and you don't want to argue with that. Join me again next time for another Pokemon challenge, where we see if I can beat Pokemon Black using just a single Trubbish. As always, if you have any ideas for future challenges, head to the comment section down below, or follow the links in the description to my Twitter or my Discord. Outro time. I'm back, fresh from my week away. Weather was lovely, hotel was nice, feel really refreshed and relaxed. I had a great time in Croatia. We even took day trips over the border to Montenegro and Bosnia. All 3 of them, really beautiful countries. Great time, but by this point I've had a week back now. And on the day before this aired, I'll have had my wisdom teeth out if everything went to plan, so hopefully that's not going to delay future challenges or, more importantly, cause me too much grief. I'm going to jump off here, folks, but as always, thanks for being here. This has been Once and Future Gamer, and this has been Pokemon Yellow with a single Koffing. Thanks again for watching, folks. Take care now, have a great day, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye now, so long, see you around. Ta-ta!